going on into the draft, we do see that it is currently banned out the Chen, and in turn, Alliance is going to be banning out the Lifestealer, knowing they do not have the first pick this time around. Actually, I might scratch that. They do have the first pick this time around, but they're not looking to FP the Nakes. They're looking to actually pick up something completely different, which, I gotta say, here's like Bat Rider, Magnus. I mean, S4 pretty much can have his pick of the litter if they want to go that route, or they could go for something like, I don't think they play IO very often, but we have seen IO Riki before, so something like that.
IO, actually, no. Alliance do run IO, and they run it against Russian teams as oh, you'd like to play aggressive? We like to play even more aggressive. Yep, haha, yes. 4 points.
Dude, I wasn't saying they wouldn't do it. I'm just saying that it's a different matchup, and it's a different style than what they commonly play.
I agree, but specifically, it's something that they do run against teams like Virtus.pro and Empire. They really like flipping the Wisp script on its head a little bit. Mm-hmm. The other thing is that VP actually likes IO less than most other Russian teams do. So if they want to go aggressive, IO is potentially a great response to that, especially the Nature's Prophet. He teleports somewhere, teleport right on top of him and kill him. The downside of the IO pick is that it's tough in a try versus try. It makes your try versus try relatively weak potentially. So VP might seek to just play very aggressively in the lane phase to really pressure out that IO, make it hit level 6 very late, and win through that route. But it's going to be an interesting dynamic. I think actually in the games where they have picked up the IO, Alliance have a better record against VP. Like they've won better than 60% or so. I haven't looked at the numbers in a while just because IO has been such a first ban lock in the Western scene that I sort of lost all my research about it.
Sure.
But I know that they do very well when they take IO against Russian teams, and it's a strategy that they like to play.
Yeah. Most definitely here. So we're going to see Virtus.pro picking up another one of their dynamic possible supports. They pick up the gyrocopter here, and like NS ran it last time around, they can run that rather effectively in the supportive mindset, or they can give him farm priority, however they feel the draft is kind of panning on out. But some interesting bans coming out of Alliance in response to that. They know they have the Prophet and the Batright and the Gyro, and as such they're banning out right now the Undying and the Rubik. Is there any reason they should be fearing Undying more often than not?
Yeah, they need to fear the Undying because they know it's going to be 3v3 no matter what. And 3v3 is the context in which Undying shines.
Sure.
He's, out of all the supports in the world, he's probably the best 3v3 support. Other thing is, their number 1 in this game is a Chaos Knight, so he's a strength-based hero. His damage scales off his strength. Yeah. Decay is going to make it more annoying for him to last hit, as well as taking away one of the key resources for a strength hero, which is the survivability. So that's why the Undying, and then the other support bans are just pro forma. You want to take out that Shadow Demon, you want to take out that Rubik, classic support choices.
Yeah, and along with that, of course, the spell steal going on the Magnus can be extremely difficult. Not that great against IO, but of course Rubik gets to choose who he's stealing from, so can be opting for those Chaos Bolts or any one of Magnus's awesome spells. Either way, moving on forward into this next picking stage, of course, Alliance still have that first pick and are still going to be looking to round out their tri-lane, I believe. Their off-lane is kind of in their mind right now, but they have options available. Like, even though the Clockwork, the Lone Druid, and the Nature's Prophet is gone, they can technically run Bulldog on the Magnus, or they could try something completely different that they've kind of been scurrying about. Either way, right now, I think they're looking to secure their support so that they can guarantee that IO and CK will be able to get towards that level 6.
I want to talk about these bans real quick. Here's the thing. Ake gave an interview a couple weeks ago, which I think contained a pretty prescient insight, which is he was like, I feel like as a team, and he was big upping his own team here, but I think he was totally right. He said, we're leaving the stage at which people can just respect ban against us and we're screwed. Like, they could just counter ban. Yeah. Look at how many Admiral Bulldog bans came out.
Yeah.
You've got the Clockwork, Lone Druid, Darkseer, Bounty Hunter, and they drafted Nature's Prophet. And I suspect Bulldog will still find something for himself. Yeah. They could even go with something like, let's watch out, maybe they could put him on the Magnus, because his Magnus isn't bad, even if S4's is, like, amazing.
Yeah, and right now, Virtus.pro doesn't have that much lockdown on that tri-lane. If you're talking about try versus try, that's probable, but if they expect it to be an aggressive tri-lane down bottom, which the Lina is great at dealing with the Light Strike array hitting up multiple heroes, they could easily run something that's perfectly fine in 1v1. Run Brewmaster on the offlane, who cares? If Admiral Bulldog has the potential to really initiate and counter-initiate, then he's going to not really care what he's up against. You can ban against him all he wants, but he's going to find something interesting, and I honestly think that if they expect Virtus.pro to be bottom with this Gyrocopter, Bane, and whoever, then they could easily run that Brewmaster down up top.
The question is, who do you think the whomever is going to be? I still feel like they want to run aggressive, and the Juggernaut is an option. We've seen Airman Jug Even something like Dragon Knight.
Heck,
might
we've
not
seen
be so bad.
Arzart Jug for crying out loud. So,
Yes, we have seen Arsart Jug, but this is starting to feel to me like NS Gyro again, the Gyro Bane pair.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure. They would want to do the Gyro on Airman just because he's so good at it. I always call him Airman when I'm referring to the Gyro, since the era in which Illidan played Gyrocopter was the era in which he was still calling himself Airman, but it could go either way. They could pick up another support and run Gyrocopter, but I wonder what support would actually be good with Bane. They could do something like Venge, but she needs levels. In fact, most of the remaining support options are fairly level dependent. And we see the puck, so yeah. Haha, 5 points. It's going to be Bulldog Magnus.
You're just counting stuff that doesn't even work, man. You play by your own rules. It's okay.
I play by my own rules, Blaze. I'm a loose cannon, but I get casting results. OD!
Illidan Outworld Devourer. Now that is something that pretty much nobody can see coming. They want to keep up with this pocket strat stuff. They want to play stuff that people aren't used to, because no matter how much you scrim, you can't play against all 100 and some odd heroes, or actually 100 heroes right now. You can't be prepared for every single thing that'll come on out. And in this situation, Outworld Devourer is something that we see a lot more in the Asian scene, and in the rarest occurrences, just to completely destroy a lane, we can see him as well in this position here.
Black likes him on Mouse. He'll play him. The cool thing about this OD pick is it took balls and patience, because Nyx Assassin snuck through all the way, but VP had last pick.
Yeah.
So if they had picked OD any earlier, it would be over.
Yeah,
it would be
exactly.
over, because Nyx Assassin destroys ODs. There's no other way to put it. He destroys Outworld Devourer. But they waited until the 5th pick. Alliance didn't bite on the Nyx Assassin. They take the puck, and this OD could do some work here.
Yeah, most definitely. This is going to be pretty interesting as far as how it'll work out. We currently see S4 picking up that puck, and Admiral Bulldog going to be running the Magnus on that off lane, which could just be, as we mentioned, a 1v1 position that they can go back and forth with, which won't be that big of a deal. But this Outworld Devourer, if it was tri-laned, which currently seems to be going that direction, I don't know. It seems very... I mean, we've seen tri-lane Batrider as well. KSI is picking that up for the moment. He's usually their solo player. Do you think the tri-lane... I guess the best way to phrase it is, do you think that the Outworld Devourer is going to be on the tri-lane or the Batrider?
Outworld Devourer, I think.
Because they have pulled him at some HP regeneration, a couple from Arzart. He could be looking for a different lane, or they just could be preemptive knowing that he's going to be the one to need it. He has great base armor. He has great stats right now based on the items he's picked up. And he does have the potential to outlast hit pretty much any int hero. So I kind of like him against the puck personally, but I could see why they want to put priority on him down on that tri-lane as well. Down on bottom, actually, puck taking a lot of damage right now. S4 has to jaunt away now, forcing out a salve this early on, or just a huge set of tangos. Right now, the positioning looks like they're going to have S4 down on bottom, and Leanin possibly roaming around to support him, as well as putting some pressure on mid. That does leave the tri-lane, to an extent, being up towards this top, and it's kind of like a lot of back and forth, but with this haste room pickup, Team W is in a bad spot. They pick up the skewer. They have the tether. They can easily stun and skewer. Team W should be dead here. The Chaos Bolt 1 second, but this skewer puts them right on top of everything. And that is an easy first blood. Good rune pickup, good response from EGM, and they start off very, very strong, but these lanes are anything but predictable. Dual lane versus dual lane is what it looks like right now. The Enfeeble already coming out for Loda to limit how much he can last hit, which is a pretty big deal considering his minimum damage is so far away from his maximum. It'll pretty much be up to chance whether or not the last hit lands. Either way, though, IO, CK versus Bane, Outworld Devourer, gonna be a really, really weird match.
So, OD is good against Chaos Knight, and I'll say why. Once he casts a few of those Astral Imprisonments, CK has a bad mana pool. It's the main problem with Chaos Knight.
Yeah.
And once he can no longer cast stuns and stuff, it's a really bad situation. That's actually... It's interesting that you see Loda moving away, so he might go into this... I don't know. He knows that it's going to be a tough lane for him. And it's okay for EGM, because his spells are very, very mana efficient. He just doesn't need to Spirits. But Loda would struggle in that lane, and I think that's why you see him transitioning. The question is, where does S4 go now? Does he go mid? because he's going to struggle against the Outworld Devourer a little bit too. VP actually with some clever laning strategies here. I like the addition of NS to KSI, by the way.
Yeah.
Like, I like that this is basically... Now it's a tri-lane. So
yeah, that's what I was talking about before, is
Loda.
whether or not the BAT or the OD would be the main primary participator.
Well,
but after some swapping, they got S4
Yeah.
1v1 mid, and they have the Bat Rider down in this try.
So they triggered a rotation from Alliance, and then rotated themselves only after that, which is very smart. Some canny play from them there. And you see S4, and now he's in the middle. The issue is, for Puck, he's down to about 54, which is still a perfectly reasonable amount of auto attack damage, but OD up to 79. And then with one more Astral Imprisonment, that's going to become even more dramatic. In fact, we'll see it in just about a second.
Yeah.
Once S4 ends up inside that prison, his damage will drop to about 49, I think. And then Illidan's will be up to about 85.
Yeah, you can't outlast hit an Outworld Devourer, and the fact that Puck generally relies on his spell nukes to push out the lane and get a couple of 2 or 3 CS each and every time, he's not going to have mana to support that either. It's really, really a difficult lane for him being an anti-hero in this position, and now the Devourer has boots, he has the stats to continuously spam this stuff out, and it's going to make it so darn difficult for S4, and it's just like, it's going to be a joke of a lane. They're looking down at bottom, though. They get the reality onto NS, bursting him hard, but he does get the barrage off. Either way, Light Strike Ray lands true, and NS should fall on a couple easy right clicks. The Enfeeble doing work, but not enough. Ake will fall with a couple more right clicks, but now, with all these napalm stacks up, I'm not so sure about Loda's position. He doesn't have a magic stick, and he's going to die. So they get 2 kills in return. They didn't get the first one, but now looking at EGM, nothing to tether to. Will hide on out, but yeah, there is no tether cooldown, and instead, they get all 3. Triple kill for KSI himself, and he's halfway to a Blink Dagger. Like, he's going to pick up boots, of course, but I'm just saying, he got so much out of that. It's ridiculous.
He got a ton out of that. The most important thing for VP in this entire game is to limit the CKIO levels. And so far, they've done a really good job. I'll say why it's important. Outworld Devourer, it doesn't matter how much he wins this lane. I mean, it obviously matters. Don't get me wrong, folks, it matters. But if CKIO find their levels fast, they can jump on him and he has very, very, very few answers. Loda now in the top. They just can't find a spot for this guy. They know they need to find the levels, so they're continuously rotating, trying to make it work somehow. But EGM right now, he's just marooned. What do I do precisely? They're
same thing with Ake.
for a kill on Illidan.
Same thing with Ake. Like, he has to hide underneath this tier 1. He's all by himself. This bottom lane is what they're almost abandoning at this stage, and they do block off the pull, so really there's no point in being in that position. We do see Bulldog finding an opportunity up on the top lane, which is really, really good for him. Loda was taking a lot of hits, but was able to at least initiate underneath the tower for a moment, setting up the damage fall from Admiral Bulldog. So it really works out in favor for them. But other than the top lane putting out some pressure there, we're seeing the experience per minute just falling for Lina and for EGM. They're doing a little bit of pulling on the easy camp over here in the Radiant Jungle, but not so much. Like, they're not really accomplishing much more than they would just kind of standing around.
I don't know. I mean, it's a tough situation that they find themselves in, but that said, they're making the most of it. Loda, he is level 5. He's tied for the highest level, despite the fact that he's, had a great migration, basically. Like, he's moved lanes twice, and yet he's keeping up, which is good.
Yeah, Ake should be dead anyways. The Nightmare is not skilled up, though. Bane went for 2 points.
No, he's dead.
Yeah, okay, it took a little bit, but the Whistle should connect and finish it off. So yeah, he did still drop down. I mean, NS with that Invisor and stalking it up, but it would have been much more of a sure kill if they had gone for the Nightmare instead. I guess just not really working well with the barrage. Either way, in this position here, it's just pretty much they have full control, and Ake is not even going to head back down bottom. They are literally just abandoning this thing and trying to make more action happening on mid and top. So EGM rotating on through. He has the boots active. He's going to be trying to roam down bottom. I really don't know how I feel about that. Without any pull, unless they send 3 or 4 heroes down in that bottom lane, they're wasting their time, in my opinion.
Yeah, in some respect,
S4 is dead. Light Strike Ray. Actually, phase shift timed with it, though. Bottle, yeah, no, he will be able to survive. Good movement from Ake, keeping him up, because S4 was out of mana. He couldn't orb jaunt away. EGM getting dived down at bottom. They have the vision with the Firefly. He tethers to the creep, but will it be enough? The homing missile about to connect. He eats that in the face, but knowing that Loda's here to protect him, he actually is going to be able to survive and possibly try to get a return. The Spirits giving vision of KSI. They know exactly where he's at, but they can't do anything about it.
This path from this was really smart from KSI going this way, the diagonal, rather than trying to go straight. Because if he goes straight, Chaos Knight catches him right here. And instead, since he goes this way, he doesn't come out and they can't see him. Really, really good play from him there. I gotta say, Ake and EGM, good defensive play from these supports. Like, that Light Strike array completely saved S4, and it's important for S4 to do well because other heroes might sort of struggle. The other thing is, Bulldog has won his lane substantially. Like, 11 last hit advantage over Tame My Wild. And considering the fact that Loda was there stealing last hits, like the grubby little last hit stealer that he is, Bulldog has done great in his lane.
By the way, Bane was actually able to pick up S4 after the fact. There was like a battle for the illusion rune. I didn't catch it, but looking at the chat logs, that's pretty much what we see there. S4 was dropped down, and that makes more sense about how Bane's just jumped up to level 5 all of a sudden. So, yeah, able to find windows of opportunity, and he's going to have that Fiend's Grip soon. So, honestly, if Arzart moves into a great position where he's going to be able to get those disables off on key heroes like the CK or the Magnus, they're really going to be able to just take the fight to Alliance and pressure them before that Wisp CK combo really becomes a threat.
Right. So I honestly don't know, though. Right now it seems like it could... Alliance are still, because of their sort of execution ability, are still doing okay.
Rift coming out through. They get the 4-second stun on KSI. That should be enough, but the lasso, the flame break, he is going to be able to just walk away. The salve comes on through, but the damage from the spirits, 35 HP, but he has the magic stick. Not going to be able to finish it. The shockwave, not enough either. NS, though, in a terrible spot. Should be at least one kill to be able to get out and out of this, but he's still walking away. Reality Rift, the stun won't happen twice, but it's enough to finish it off. Both of them dropping low from the Wrath of Nature, but see this rotation. Look at them. They realize that they need to group up for more potential to get kills and, more importantly, survive from Virtus Pro, just kind of going for pickoff after pickoff. But it is costing them movement. They're all 5 down on bottom, and that's buying time for TMW to find some farm here. He's going to go for probably a utility build. That's more common from him, but I don't know. In this position, both teams are not comfortable with how the game is playing out. Just straight up.
You called the utility build mere moments before he picked up the Midas recipe. I had my eyebrow raised because, of course, if you're going utility, you don't he has no reason to get the mechanism because mechanism is very common on Outworld Devourer, and he is in fact building mechanism. Plus, he had the money saved up for the Midas.
Sure.
So, fortunately, Blaze, I have to ding you on that one. But they're going to try for a kill bottom again, by the way.
Yeah, looking for Loda. He is perfectly in vision range because of the creeps, and there's the lasso to lock it down. He's pretty much 100% dead. So, that kind of position allows them to put pressure on the tier 1 here. Mid lane is going to actually be able to bring down the OD. They committed the Dream Coil, and the Reverse Polarity. They really, really wanted him, and of course they did get him, but had to fight for it.
It was good. It's good to get that trade. The Chaos Knight for the OD, okay. Especially considering OD's a level ahead. That's fine for Alliance. My one question is, where is EGM going to find his levels? Is he going to find his levels? He's gone to this abandoned lane top. I mean, not abandoned, but TMW isn't going to pressure him that heavily, which is good, because they need this Wisp hit 6 sooner rather than later.
So, yeah, TMW is going to be able to pick up his farm very, very quickly. He did have a lot of farm in the top lane, and of course he is building up that Midas. So, jumping that up, he will be able to pick up some great items. I'm thinking a Scythe Rush is probably his best bet, considering he's up against a Puck. He has to Hexer. Like, I was talking about the great targets for Bane to lock down, but adding in a Scythe of Ice would just be so darn effective up against Alliance's lineup. They're not going to have BKBs anytime soon, and I really, really think that it'll just give them all the control they want. S4 is going to be able to jaunt on out of this with the phase active, but yeah, if Bane was level 6, that would have been a sure kill. So it really comes down to the timing.
Nightmare, that would have been a sure kill.
Yeah, he really doesn't like that stuff. Like, he put 1 point in stats and hasn't looked back. Like, he is going brain sap hardcore.
I find that point in stats a little bit baffling. I mean, it's going to give him more survivability, and Alliance can throw out a lot of damage. But I do feel like Nightmare would still be useful. It's definitely interesting that he's chosen to put that point in stats, and we'll have to look at whether that has any effect on the game in the future. Because, of course, next level he's not going to get Nightmare. He's going to get, Fiend's Grip. And then level 7, he's going to get a Brain Sap. So, leaving your Nightmare until level 8, it's definitely an exotic choice in some respects.
He knew that he wouldn't be... He knew that he wouldn't be laning next to the Outworld Devourer. He knew that he wouldn't be benefiting from the Essence Aura. So, honestly, his mana pool is extremely weak. He would only be able to cast 2 spells in a team fight. He wouldn't be able to get Nightmare, Brain Sap, and Fiend's Grip off, especially since he's not running any natural stats from his items. So, I understand it, but like you said, it could cost them, since they're not going to have it for quite a bit more levels.
Alliance have hit the 8-6 point. That's level 8 Chaos Knight, level 6 Wisp. This is typically when these guys are going to start rotating, and the problem for a VP, in my opinion, is that they didn't hit this that late. 10 minutes is 10.5 minutes is a perfectly okay time for your Wisp to hit 6 and you to start relocating. All this effort from Virtus Pro hasn't... Oh, Ake actually...
Oh, big Fiend Script. The relocate right on top of him, though. Bane is going to be completely destroyed, but the hammers drop. The Sanity Eclipse comes on through to be able to bring down Lina. There's going to be a duel between the supports here, but it should be no. The Brain Sap keeps up Bane. They do bring down Illidan, though. Focusing a lot of damage on top of him there. So committing, once again, the Dream Coil to lock him in place, but the Bane walks away, at least for the moment. Yeah, he is in a perfectly fine spot. He got the Brain Sap up just in time, and IO, he was forced to rubber band back to his previously relocated position.
Right. This ward for Alliance, in an uncommon spot on their side of the river, has actually done an incredible amount of work for them. With 2 wards, they have all the vision they need. You can see that VP have actually expended 4 wards, all in this jungle, to try to generate kills, and just the 2 efficient wards from Alliance have given them all the sight of VP coming in for ganks that's allowed them to avoid a ton of incoming VP kills.
Yeah.
Really, really smart warding from them, and it's really served as an early warning system, especially for Arsart's rotations, and as a consequence, VP just aren't getting that much out of it yet. I feel like the flip side is, of course, Illidan, even with the 2 deaths, he's closing in on Mechanism, about 800 more gold. He's doing well, but now he's got to worry about relocates. Like, that's another thing for VP to have to think about. And KSI, he's going to have Blink at about 500 gold, but it would have been nice for him to already have it.
Yeah. Like, literally what you can say about every single member of Virtus Pro is they're about to have something. They're a few good minutes off of being able to pick up some great things. I mean, even Earn on Gyrocopter means a lot to him, and the Matrix Prophet just flying in towards some great big item, but it's going to be a little bit more time. Bane does end up picking up the Arcane Boots, so he has solved his mana problems and should be just going straight for Nightmare to follow this up, and then Enfeeble, of course, as to supplement that. But
Fight mid.
they are going to be seeing things break down. I don't think so. I honestly think that unless the prison gets in range to bring that out, actually we do see on top, KSI is already picked off. They can rotate right on into where Ake is Fiend's Grip. He will drop down first, but will there be any follow-up? But Admiral Bulldog already used his skewer, doesn't have the blink, and as such cannot ulti on in. Along with that, the relocate was expiring, so KSI trying to make something happen with the teleport, but thinks a little bit better of it.
Yeah. Okay trade, VP, not the greatest trade, but it could have gone worse. The Wrath of Nature actually is what dissuaded Alliance from pursuing it further, since suddenly, they were all at half health. There's the homing missile on EGM, so no danger to him there. The homing missile just lands harmlessly 5 minutes later onto him from that fight.
Exactly. So,
I think VP wanted to pursue that, by the way, and the relocate was sort of just like, oh, well, there's nobody we want to kill here. So still, I don't know. Who would you say has the advantage here?
It's tough. I think as soon as Virtus Pro starts getting those items I was talking about, they'll be in a great spot. They'll get the mechanism, they'll get the blink, and suddenly their fight is so much more powerful. And right now, Bulldog hasn't been finding his farm, so that blink dagger, I think, is not going to come out before the next big clash, and as such, if he dies and loses all that unreliable gold, it's going to be delayed further, and we see this very, very commonly for a Magnus that just hasn't been on point. He would love to have his Blink Dagger this very second, maybe even a minute ago, but in this position here, he's still a full 1,000 gold off, and now might get picked right here. He gets the double damage, but here goes that big ultimate, and just dropping it down, they followed up with big nukes, and Bulldog does not get on out of there. He tries his best, but the skewer not going to take him down off the cliff.
And a skewer.
What?
That's really weird. I really thought he would go to the low ground with that skewer. Oh, whatever.
Yeah, honestly, there's a mechanic about it that I still have to do some research on, because there's sometimes the cliff just doesn't work out, and I have to figure out exactly what causes that. But either way, the end result is that the Magnus dies, and with that, the Blink Dagger's up for the Bat Rider. So there's so much more potential for KSI to just jump on in and make some really, really painful things happen if they can get a good initiation on one of the core heroes. Drop down S4 before he really gets any of his spells off, or same thing with the Magnus. They can pretty much take the fight and initiate on their terms now that the OD has also finished up that mechanism.
Something that's interesting to me, and I want to comment on real quick, is the amount of effort VP have expended on killing Ake in these early on in these fights. They've popped 2 Fiend Scripts just to take down this Lina. And we see the fruits of their labor here, and it's interesting. I don't know how big the effect will be, but it's certainly interesting. He's still level 5. He's not at Laguna yet. And Laguna would be able to blow up people on Virtus Pro, so the fact that Ake has sort of been neutered, he's 2 levels behind the next lowest level person in the game, does mean that this Lina, and I mean Ake's excellent coordination, isn't really available to them in these team fights. But VP, they could have gotten themselves in a little bit of trouble here if the chase comes out, which it may. I don't know.
Team W in an interesting spot. Was acting as a plateau ward for just a little bit there, and trying to see what was going on across the map, maybe looking for a courier snipe or something, but in the end, it's just a tier 1 trade for a tier 1 trade. Loda is finding that farm, though, finds his drums of endurance, and is going to be able to be much more of a player on the front line of things. He'll be very, very quick. Of course, 398 movement speed is some of the fastest you can get without a Manta or Yasha, and I really, really think that if he goes in right when he has his team at his back and is confident with them, he's suddenly going to be able to do whatever the heck he wants. But VP is trying to avoid that. They're going for smoke picks, and although it's going to be a long roam, there's a good chance that Alliance would be looking for farming up the Radiant jungle within the next minute. We see kind of Ake breaking away from the pack. If he goes for like a stack or something, he's screwed, but right now they are pretty well clustered.
Good cluster. Smart. Loda's slow farm concerns me a little bit because I think he's going to want to go for Armlet, but I actually think BKB is fairly critical for him because TMW, check it out, he's almost halfway to his Scythe of Vice. So Scythe of Vice on Chaos Knight before his BKB is going to really take the wind out of Alliance's sails in these team fights, and they'll really just have to rely on their big team fight ultimates. So Loda, we gotta keep an eye out on his item build. Meanwhile, Alliance smoke ganking. Yeah. Just smokes from both teams, both trying to catch each other out, and you can see that the vision that the teams had is actually dissipated. Wow, TMW, look how defensively he's playing. Doesn't know where Alliance is, knows that he wants that early Scythe of Vice, play very defensively. Okay,
sorry, bad spot, get silenced up, they do get the stun as well, connecting on through, they get the burst, and they finish it off. They get the coil on one more, and they're going in. They go for the Fig RP, as well as that Reality Rift. Everybody dropping low. The mechanism helps quite a bit, but not enough. Fiend's Grip on Loda will delay his damage, but I'm not sure if they can kill him just yet. He has the magic wand, and he gets... No! They try to relocate him out. They do not succeed. And now Ake and S4 are left here by themselves. They finish off OD. Emerald Bulldog going in for a big damage on TMW. Can they follow it up, though? S4 needs to get a perfect orb off, and instead, no chance. Bane finishes off Ake and is going to walk away from this here. Bulldog going in and finishing off the Prophet before TPing out himself. For the fight breaking down across the map so hard. Silence comes out. One orb. He will get it. He will get the kill here. So they do clean up, and they do actually get more kills than less, but KSI at least picks off EGM in the process with a nice Blink Lasso initiation. There is going to be the missile heading on in, but I don't think they can actually make this happen. The orb and the phase shift should be enough to get S4 out of dodge here. But KSI still going. He's still going. He gives him the nudge. There, S4 will be able to walk away. He has his Blink Dagger himself. Oh my gosh, it's not over yet. Coming on through, Loda gets the stun, and they're going to be able to bring down KSI. Going on through, S4 trying to do some damage, but cannot actually stand and deliver with the amount that NS is putting back out in the other direction.
Way too greedy. Bulldog has his Blink. He's coming up. This isn't even... Okay, they're going to peel off. It was way too greedy continuing to go on S4. That was a mistake. I got to talk about that team fight real quick, Liz.
Please do. I mean, it was all over the place.
No, man, Ake is the story of that team fight. It would have gone vastly worse for Alliance. 3 extremely on-point light strikes were the key to that. The light strike on the dual stack here, the light strike then that followed up later, and not the light strike blast, but he actually picked off with a perfect Dragon Slave later on. Yeah. And Arsart had a huge fight as well.
The fight's still not over. I mean, they're going to go in. Loda looked like it was going to be a quick, easy pickoff, but he survives with 35 HP. The overcharge, rank 1 from EGM, might have just done it there. Either way, he walks away. Loda with 35 HP. So darn close.
I gotta say, VP, I'm liking the strategies that they're putting out. I'm liking their play. But right now, the execution from Alliance is just at like 5 to 10% higher. And I think VP with more time, I don't know, it's just not quite there, but it's so close. And maybe they can still eke this out, because there's still good news. TMW, again, I have to say, even though he died in that fight, which set him back quite a bit, you see the Shadow Blade coming out, so it's not... I thought it would be a fast Scythe of Vice, but it is going to be a Shadow Blade. Gives them more damage. I don't know about this choice, but it will give them better initiation. It also makes him feel a lot safer because he can escape more easily and sort of get around the map and get work done. Yeah. But the blinks from Alliance are out. I mean, you've got the blink for S4, you've got the blink for Bulldog. This gives them tons of repositioning. They have the relocate from Chaos Knight. It's tough for VP, I feel. The relocate's coming out, TMW.
Up on top, he doesn't have that Shadow Blade just yet. He just now got it, uses it. Will the Spirit hit? Just one Spirit will connect, and EGM will get that kill on him. He just now got the Shadow Blade. They just now learned about it, and they're going to have Dust ready for next time.
The Shadow Blade, if it had been delivered just a bit earlier, would have gotten him out, and unfortunately, he just gets killed. And I don't know, I feel like Alliance are tipping the scales here a little bit. Again, this support gyrocopter that was so utterly incredible in the TL game hasn't... I haven't been seeing the perfect Bane gyrocopter coordination. that we sometimes see.
Yeah.
And I talked about this at the beginning of the games that they had with Liquid, which is Arsart and NS are very good supports individually, but do they have that like that one mind that you see with the best 4 or 5 pairs? That sometimes I feel like you do see with EGM and Ake, and that isn't just quite up to that level with NS and Arsart. And that's been, I think, the difference maker, especially in that big team fight at Tier 2 mid. It still was basically a draw, I would say, in some respects. But the fact that Alliance were able to get the draw, I mean, excellent play from the supports, in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely. In this position here, they have Puck with the Haste Rune and the Blink Dagger. They can pretty much count on him to be able to do whatever he wants if he doesn't get lassoed here. But the problem is he was under that ward, and so with that, just a little bit of extra damage there. Bane with the Brain Sap, finishing it off, and yeah, they just get their nukes off right there. I was going to say, with Haste, with Blink, he has a lot of potential to play a little cat and mouse, giving them time to put pressure on the top tier 3s, but we're seeing that not actually work out in that way. With the ward that Puck was sitting on for a good few seconds, they took their window of opportunity, got the lasso before the phase shift, and suddenly there's just no hope in that kind of circumstance. So they have to fall back, they lose their opportunity to put damage on the top tier 3, and as such are just hurtling up to defend here. As far as buyback, Puck does have it available if he wants to TP into this fight, but I think they just want to delay it out as best as possible.
No way, yeah. I don't think he'll buy back. It's only 10 seconds. And they got the tier 2 tower, too. Even if they lose this tower, their positioning relative to the number of towers up is completely fine. Like, they'll be down 1 tower to VP. But the stage at which VP can just globally roam and get free kills is not quite there anymore. Like, it's going to be fairly difficult for them to just find kills like the one they got on S4. And that was a good kill, but
I don't know.
They need more, I feel. They have to find more, and Illidan in particular has to get a little more survivable.
I don't think that Virtus.pro is that far behind in this position here. I mean, OD is so darn scalable, and then until BKB comes out for CK, which is still a decent ways off, at least the recipe, he's going to be able to do a ton of damage to Loto himself. The Arcane Orb is amazing against those illusions. The Phantasms will come out and, like, one-shot them, practically. And on top of that, you were mentioning the fact that they have 1 tower advantage for Alliance. Actually, 2 towers, I believe. Yeah, 2 towers. Oh, no, it's just 1 tower. I'm back and forth, of course, but it's kind of back and forth between the towers, and 3,000 gold is still in the lead for Virtus.pro, so they have that potential to actually come out and still have that much more as far as items go, kind of brute force.
I agree with you. I mean, just on a numerical basis, even after that big swing in that team fight, they're still a little bit ahead on XP, they're still ahead on gold. I don't think VP are, I mean, I'm not even sure if I would classify them as that behind at all, so I agree with you there. I'm just saying that the sort of strategy they started the game out with is kind of at its sunset, right? Like, they're not just going to find a ton of free kills. They have to start winning team fights, and fairly convincingly at that.
Yeah, I mean, it comes down to the Magnus. If Bulldog can get some really pro initiations off, then I think that Alliance is going to be able to not only swing it back, but dish out so much damage. Puck, by the way, is pushing out top tower while this tier 2 defense comes in, but he's going to be at the ready. TP scroll as soon as Magnus feels like he wants to go on in. So Bulldog waiting and just trying to find that opportunity, which VP, their positioning is just not giving it to them. They're splitting up very effectively, and yeah, you can pick off 2 heroes together, but they're not. It's usually a core and a support, and in that position, you're not actually very confident about how the fight will break down with just an RP on those 2.
It's interesting choice of the Puck to do the split pushing. I mean, you might as well. Puck clears creep waves pretty quickly by throwing out Orb and Waning Rift, but he's hanging on to the Waning Rift in case somebody TPs on top of him, which is very smart. So S4 just putting that little bit of extra pressure, and this is smart canny play from Alliance as well, to just present that other option. Don't just sit here like a pub team and have all 5 players. Have somebody doing something so that you sort of, the team on the offensive has to sort of be like, oh, we're giving up tower health to do what exactly? Just add that little element of stress, that little element of worry that VP still has to have.
So one thing, as far as not picking up the Scythe of Ice on Nature's Prophet, one thing to make that make a little bit more sense is that Outward Devour is going for it right now, and he'll have it so darn quickly. Like, he's been farming very, very nicely. He has 345 GPM, and one good team fight, and he's going to be most of the way there. He already has that Mystic Staff. So in this position, I honestly think that they only need 2 Scythes total, and I think that the Age of Prophet can wait out. They do see the Puck TP finally back. Are we going to see a Dream Coil come out, though? Unfortunately, the tower falls, and Puck is nowhere near. Like, he goes, S4 falls back the second he jumps on in. He actually blinked backwards. So they are very unconfident about this open ground battle.
In the end, I gotta say VP got the better of that kinda. I mean, they killed the tower. S4 got some XP because he was solo top, but he didn't do that much damage to the tower, only about 700, so a little less than half. Not bad, but not really worth just losing a tower and tying up the rest of your team. Yeah. So, I don't know. He is level 13 after that, so that ties him up for the highest level on the map with TMW. So overall, S4 finding some, but the rest of Alliance got almost nothing done during that entire period of time.
Cool thing is they bounced back. They got like a quadruple stack of Ancients farmed down by Empower along with Overcharge, just completely obliterating those. So Loda does... match it up. He gets his Black King bar, and he was very, very far behind comparatively. Like, he was, like, number 4. I think he was even behind the puck, but bounced back pretty quickly with that Ancient farming, and now, yeah, he's going to be a very, very big threat. He can jump on in comfortably with that Reality Rift as long as he has the BKB to back it up. We do see smokes coming on through, but even if they force out Bane to pop off the Fiend's Grip on him, that's giving them an opportunity where they can initiate very, very well with the puck, with the Magnus. They have a lot of backup, but now the smoke has expired. Ake in a bad, bad spot, getting right click down quickly, does get a stun out, delays his death, but he still will fall. Same with Bulldog, who got lasted on out of KSI. Great initiation from Virtus Pro. They find a great window and walk right underneath the wards. It doesn't matter, because their smoke was at the perfect time where Alliance was just caught with their pants down, and now the tier 2 will be forfeit.
Good pincer movement there. Really strong from VP. Getting the 2 basically free kills. Ake still getting the Laguna off, by the way.
Yeah.
He forced Illidan to just use his mechanism to survive. And again, I mean, this OD not tremendously survivable just yet.
In this position here, it's not going to change because he doesn't have any defensive cooldowns that can really help him out. The Bane is pretty good for that. But otherwise, yeah, you're looking at Mechanism and then just some raw HP to work with coming out from the Ultimate Orb
from VP.
in a bit. But I think they're just in a great, very strong position. They can contest Roche directly, and if they continue to get picks off on Magnus, even just interrupting his Blink Dagger will set Bulldog very, very far back in a fight. And longer and longer the game goes on, I think Virtus Pro is gaining a little bit more control, especially since the Bane is going to have his BKB pretty soon.
Yeah, I mean, well played to them there. They picked up I mean, after that tower, they got this tier 2, 2 kills. VP playing smart. They're controlling the vision so that Chaos Knight and IO can't just jump on them and kill them. And when they know that they're in vision, when they know that they're in danger, they clump up as 5, try to flip those kills onto Alliance, and just in general, this is very well put together from VP, honestly. Not just that sort of wild and crazy, like, oh, we'll just try to get kills, and if we don't get kills, we basically lose. That super, 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 like, negative stereotype of CIS Dota that we saw in the first game. Much more coordinated, and okay, we haven't found as many picks as we wanted, but we can still make it work in the second game. The flip side of grouping up so much...
Okay, aside, finding out S4, getting that vision, just really, really good with the Firefly. They commit the Fiend's Grip, but well worth it. They bring him down, and Admiral Bullock, a second time, he's like, oh, I want to save you, but there's absolutely no point. And so he does blink on away. It looks like he might get out. Shadowblade's not going to give enough movement speed, so the missile will connect, but I think Bulldog should be able to pull on out. They have other intentions, though. They're going deep, and they know the missile will connect inevitably, but the Blink Dagger is up, and yeah, he is safe and sound back at base. Meanwhile, the split push up on top, and the cool thing is they can relocate whenever they want. He's going to be going for a, I gotta say, Dominator, because Armlet, I don't know, as far as it's only 2,700 gold, and you don't want to just commit a full late game item slot to that. So, although it's a great item on CK, I can't see him buying that when he could just go for Dominator that later scales into Satanic.
At first I was like, what are you talking about, Blaze? But now that I think about it, I don't know. Humble the Dominator wouldn't be bad. He does have the Empower to clear Ancient stacks quickly, and that would get him some farm. And that would be very forward-thinking from Loda. Like, yeah, this game's probably going to go late. What do I do about it? I want to talk quickly about the BKB coming up on Bulldog. Finding Bulldog some safe farm is actually going to be fairly important. I really think the more BKBs they can amass, the better shape they'll be in. Because, of course, Outworld Devourer, he's one of the best damage dealers in the game, until everybody has BKB on the other team. And then all of a sudden he's one of the worst damage dealers in the game. He hits for just piddling amounts.
Yeah.
So that's the key for Alliance. It's to get at least 2 BKBs. If they could even get one, I don't think it would be bad to get S4 one eventually.
Really?
Not for a while, but eventually it'd be good.
Yeah, I mean, that can work. There's the 2 ways to make it work. You either go Scepter it or you BKB it. So depending on how active you are of a caster.
Well, for Bulldog, Ghost Scepter is not an option.
Yeah, no, I'm not talking about Bulldog. He's going to go BKB for sure. I'm talking about if they want to go for more ways to nullify some of that damage. Actually, KSI finding out another. every single time he pops out that Firefly. Works out. S4 coming in. They get the relocate. They want to fight this. Ake's still up. Big Light Strike Array. Oh my gosh, that damage from Lina, from Chaos Knight, from the Wisp. They turn this around nicely. They do lose Ake in the end, but they force out buyback after buyback. Going on down, going on through. Loda doing so much damage, but he gets Fiend's Grip in the end. He's caught alone. EGM was bounced back, but here's a nice silence from S4. It will be enough. He reality rifts out of the trees, and he will run to the south. Can he get out of this? No, too much damage. So close. The final flame break to finish it off. Oh, S4 made a nice play to try to give him a nice opportunity, but no window of escape for him. He does drop down, and with all these buybacks, they have to get Roche. If they don't kill Roche, of course they will, but if they didn't get Roche out of this, their buyback money would have been way too far spent for how much they got out of it.
Yeah, I'm glad that you pointed out Ake's play, because again, it was very, very on point, his Lina there. Good light strikes again, leading pretty much directly to the kill of at least one player on VP, and that was... Arsart has been deceptively extremely important to these fights, by the way. Like, his Brain Sap has been really useful. He's gotten he's actually 4-2 and 11, Blaze. He's been part of 15 of 19 kills. He's only died twice. Arsart's having a secretly huge game, and he's going to go BKB as well, which is almost just as good against Alliance, if not better than it is against VP.
Yeah. So we did see the Scythe come out for Illidan, and as you said, that BKB is well on its way.
And it's Armlet, by the way, for Loda.
He did actually go for the Armlet, so that's going to help him out. It gives him the 25 temporary damage. His Phantasms will be that much more powerful. But as far as standalone, as far as him, if he's not relying on Phantasms, which, as I mentioned, aren't the best versus Outworld Devourer, I honestly feel the Dominator could have scaled better if he found the strength to back it up when he made it a Satanic late game. But no, I honestly feel it's fine. It's just he will inevitably, if he wants to go 6 slots, have to sell it for a better item. So he will
eventually sell it. I agree with you to some extent. Certainly, Armlet is significantly worse when your Phantasms die immediately, but it's still such a good item for every strength. Oh, S4, wow.
Yeah, gets sheeped up here really bad. The Hex comes out, and he is just screwed. That was very, very bad, and it looks like Ake should fall as well. I mean, Bulldog wants to make something happen, but immediately lasted by KSI. Good reflexes there. Some damage coming out from Ake, but it's not going to be enough. Bulldog skewering away. Drilling against the RP, maybe? Yeah, he hits it on top of NS, but he's just a support. Here's Illidan doing some damage, but the 4-second stun comes out on Outworld. They're doing so much damage to him, but it's not enough. Loda, by himself, won't be able to get either of them. S4 tries to finish something off. He does not either. So in this position here, they get absolutely nothing. No kills at all. And they're just going to be able to batter down on this tier 2. That was really, really unfortunate for Alliance.
That was... It was unfortunate for Alliance, but it was a fantastic play from Virtus Pro. A rare mistake. S4, he might die again.
No, phase shift will come up, but not soon enough. They just sheeped the crap out of this guy. They had 2 sheeps. They pounded them back to back, and Puck, the little fairy dragon that could, just gets roasted.
I mean, that began with a rare mistake from S4 getting caught out, and it continued. We cannot say that Alliance screwed that fight up. VP, there was so much very, very good play
so
there.
Good.
Isolating EGM to split up the tether so that he couldn't tether Loda back when Loda was in trouble.
Yeah.
The amazingly timed self-astral imprisonment from Illidan.
Yeah.
Twice. He did it twice. He dodged out the RP. Bulldog got to the point at which he couldn't wait anymore. He physically couldn't wait or he would die. So he RPs, doesn't catch Illidan in it. Illidan comes back out. Bulldog dies. Then
Initiation. They do Laguna down. KSI is toast. Illidan probably next. They get the reality rift, but they actually go on TMW. Another defensive prison. Will it be enough to get him out of here? He drops the hammer. He brings down EGM, and now he will come back up with that Aegis active. So alive and kicking. The Fiend's Grip hits on Loda. Fiend's Grip lands, and from there they lose again their Chaos Knight. No buybacks available for Alliance at all, and with a full HP Outworld Devourer, they should be able to not only take racks, but possibly just take this game outright. That's 45 seconds left on the CK, and just so much damage coming on in.
Arsart.
Oh, Bulldog coming. What is he doing? Going on in. That's not going to happen. He doesn't get the RP off. Instead, he just gets silenced up, and S4 taking a ton of damage as well. Gets the coil, gets the orb, but won't be able to finish it off. Everybody's still up there. And in the end, they lose more. They just throw their last legs. They try to go for the last stand, and it doesn't work out for them.
The survival, the astral imprisonments, Arsart's play. Arsart, I don't know. Every Fiend's Grip just perfectly on point. Some of these incredibly long distance, long duration Fiend's Grips from a safe location. Just fantastic play from this Bane. A huge, huge, huge game.
Yeah.
And the Nightmare ends up not mattering at all, frankly. He barely used it, so
Yeah.
he was
there,
right.
he used it just
we were
now.
wrong. That's why
Perfect,
our starts with
perfectly
plus
playing it
better.
there. But anyways, no, I mean that was really, really smooth. The last, I mean, it looked shaky a little bit, but they got their big item sets and they certainly put them to work. A couple of size, good blink force initiation. Gyrocopter, honestly, I just gotta say he didn't make anything happen. But you're a supportive Gyrocopter. After your roaming phase, you're like, okay, I'm just gonna be on the back line here. So he did something, but honestly, it was the three main heroes here, Outworld Devourer, Bat Rider, and Bane, just making magic happen. I mean, they made those team fights work so hard.
The thing about NS is he was dealing a lot of damage in each of these team fights. It's not like it's not Gyro died. I mean, he only has 4 deaths himself. Gyro that's on a support role is going to just quietly deal a lot of damage. Let's look at him right now. He has 110 auto attack, right?
Yeah.
And he has max flat cannon, which means that if the Gyro doesn't die in a team fight, he's dealing 660 pre-armor reduction damage to everybody in a 1,000 unit radius. So you're not gonna see that as being huge, but it's actually very substantial. And in these longer team fights, I mean, I think you could see, Blaze, that Alliance were just doing less damage into VP than VP were doing to Alliance. And the Gyrocopter speaks to that. Against Io, which is not a strong damage, I mean, Spirits is good, but it's not amazing. And they just did way more damage than Alliance could possibly return to them. And I think that goes to hero choice as well as the sort of just excellent defensive play that they did. Because Alliance didn't have that much burst, they really just lacked for burst all game. They couldn't just pop somebody immediately. When you can't burst against a team that has these defensive tools like Astral Imprisonment and Nightmare, VP had the opportunities for those extremely well-timed defenses that kept them from dying. Like that last giant push down the left side of the map, where just nobody died at any point, is because Alliance just couldn't find the opportunity to just burst somebody down, and every time they fought, they had about 10 seconds to kill somebody before people would drop.
Yeah, I mean, it came down to the way the engagements worked out. I got to give my MVP to KSI here. He got a triple kill down on bottom. He started steamrolling from there, and every single time the fight would start off him popping Firefly, saying, "Hey, there's a person over there. I'm gonna make something happen with it." And it wasn't every single time the person that was lassoed died immediately and couldn't do anything, but it was every single time that they forced a fight that Alliance didn't want to take. With S4 not being able to get a single big Dreamcoil Waning Rift initiation for them that Magnus could follow up on, really, Alliance were always scrambling in the middle of a fight. Sometimes it worked out, sometimes it didn't, but it just really came down to the fact that whatever initiation came on through, it was on Virtus Pro, and they certainly played it the exact way they needed to. Honorable mention to Bane, and interesting Outworld Devourer pick that obviously paid off here, but I gotta say KSI is definitely what I think was just completely on point with his decision-making in the middle of combat.
Yeah, no, I mean that's what it comes down to, and I'm happy to see that. I'm happy that this more aggressive play that they did do again. We were sort of wondering, are they going to stay aggressive? And I like stick-to-itiveness with teams. I like them to be like, we know that the strat is sound, so we'll stick with it and hope for better execution. And in the end, they did get better execution.
Exactly. Well, that's it for this game here. Of course, Virtus Pro answering back 1-1. It's going to be match point for both of them as we go on into Game 3. So Virtus Pro versus Alliance in the winner's bracket. Whoever takes this next game automatically bumps up their prize pool by 1,000. So that's very, very high stakes as a result of this, and it'll be very interesting to see. But thank you guys so much for tuning on in to this one here. If you guys enjoyed the commentary, you can check us out. Vikramond is over at multiple websites, Twitch, Twitter, and his own website. That's VYKROMOND. And I myself, you can just check me out at twitter.com/blazecasting. This is the Premier League, and we're going on into Game 3 in just a minute here. Thanks for tuning in.